Welcome back to the Howard Piano Industries Workshop. Our next video here today is going to be talking about giving you some ideas and some tips and hints on what to look for when you're purchasing a used piano, especially off of like the newspaper or Craigslist, which is a very popular place to find a used piano these days. So we're going to go through some of the criteria because a lot of times somebody that's buying a used piano for their kids to play on or for themselves to play on, you don't really know what to necessarily look for or to what price range you should be looking at. So we're going to give you some information that hopefully is helpful to you in your search for a used piano. We are going to have some future videos that actually go through in more detail the actual shopping process on Craigslist, so keep an eye out for those. But jumping in today to our content, the first thing you want to determine is what your needs are for a piano. Now, you might have a budget set aside or in mind of how much you'd like to spend for a piano. You want to make sure that's realistic for what your needs are for that particular instrument and what you're going to be purchasing. If you've got kids starting out, you want to make sure that even though they're just starting and aren't real advanced players yet, that you've got something that functions well. Sometimes you can get a good deal on something on Craigslist that needs a slight amount of work that may not cost you that much to have repair, or might be something that's easy to repair yourself, given using the videos that we have here on our YouTube channel. But you want to make sure that you're looking for something that doesn't need a whole ton of work, or that possibly even something that can't be fixed, such as like cracked soundboard or the structure. And we do have another video that tells you how to inspect a piano and some things to look for looking for structural damage, things that would make a piano that not playable or that can't be fixed. So those are some things, and then you want to determine, okay, what kind of piano do I want? Do I want a grand piano? Do I want a vertical piano? Do you want a little short one or a tall one? In general, when you're looking at either grand or vertical pianos, the larger the piano, the better the sound is going to be, and oftentimes the better the action, especially when you're talking about vertical pianos. If you've got a short spinet piano, your sound and your action touch is not going to be as nice in general, all other things being equal, as a taller upright or a console or studio piano. So keep that in mind when you're looking at pianos. And if you're looking for a grand piano, size matters. The shortest grand pianos are going to be, they fit in your home much better, but they're not going to have as nice of a tone or sound as a larger piano. Again, all other things being equal. So you want to keep that in mind when you're determining what kind of a piano. Of course, space. You might want to determine how much space you have in your home and how much you're willing to make for the piano. Now, as far as your budget, determining how much you want to spend, obviously, in like many other things, you get what you pay for. Oftentimes, you can get a good deal, and that's what a lot of people are looking for, something that is relatively low price for the quality and condition of the piano that they're buying. So, but I hear people say, well, I want to get a free piano. And free pianos are out there. There are a lot of free pianos that you'll see on Craigslist, and many of them are pianos that may need a lot of work or don't play very well or don't sound very good. But you can on occasion find a free piano that plays fairly decently and has a nice tone and doesn't need a whole lot of attention to it except for tuning. So those are out there occasionally. They're a little bit more difficult to find, but you can realistically find a decent piano, not a high-end piano, but something that is certainly good enough for new students to start learning on, for in $150 to $500 range. Obviously, you can pay more than that. And in our future videos, like I say, we're going to be showing you some examples of on Craigslist listings and comment on those on what kind of value they are. But like for example, this piano here, I actually bought this on Craigslist from somebody locally nearby here. My purpose for buying it was to make these YouTube videos. Okay, so I've used this particular piano for a lot of the piano repair and regulating videos that we have on our YouTube channel. But this piano, I think I paid $150 for. It's from the middle 90s, I think, 1990s. And so it's not that terribly old. It's not a brand that, it's a Whittaker, which was actually made by Kimball. So it's not a high-end piano, but it's a decent piano, and you know, it certainly would be satisfactory for students. Now, it did have a few sticky keys, which were fairly simple to fix. They had to replace a couple of key bushings, but if you had a technician have to do that, it wouldn't cost you that terribly much to do that. So that just depending on what your budget is and what your expectations are. If you're a advanced pianist, this piano, you may not be satisfied with it. Okay, but again, it's a good one for students starting out, and you don't have to spend a lot. Obviously, if you don't have a way to transport the piano, you would have to pay to have it moved also, so you want to take that into consideration when you're buying a piano. And that's where the larger pianos, you'll see a lot of these tall, old uprights, that a lot of them, for one thing, they're very, very heavy to move, and so it's probably going to cost you more if you pay somebody to move it. You can often find those for free. And on occasion, you might find one that still has some playability. The parts aren't completely worn out on it, and it can sound somewhat decent and play somewhat decent. Many of those pianos, they're a lot of them are close to 100 years old or older, and the parts are just worn out. Okay, so you do want to be careful when you're buying an old upright piano. The really tall, old turn of the 1900s piano that may need a lot of work. So you want to just be careful of that. If you get a piano that's, say, 10, 15, 20, even 30 years old, if it's been well cared for, that's not real old for a piano. So if as long as it's been cared for, a lot of times you can tell. Not always, but sometimes you can tell by, if the condition of the cabinet is in good shape, that's one sign that, the owners of the piano took good care of it and maybe had it maintained as needed. It's not a guarantee, but it's something you can, you can see that that's a possibility that that was a sign that it was cared for over its life. So you want to look on that, as far as the condition of it. You can look inside the piano and see, how are the hammers real worn? Have they been played a lot? And again, in our other video on what to look for on a Craigslist piano is we go through more of the details in that. And that's the other thing is you want to do is you want to look at the condition of the cabinet and what style the cabinet is. Maybe you have something that you want to fit in with the decor of your home. Okay, so make sure that, and just because you get $100 or $200 piano doesn't mean it has to look like it's all beat up and have wear and tear on the outside of the cabinet. But that is something to consider. Especially when you're looking on Craigslist, you can often tell that from the pictures that they put on there. And when you go to look at the piano, and of course, when you go to look at a piano, you want to obviously inspect it and. It's recommended if you really want to make sure that it's a piano that doesn't need a lot of work, that you possibly have a piano technician look at it. But so you do take a little bit of risk if you just go and look at it yourself, or have somebody look at it that doesn't know pianos real well or work with pianos. But realistically, if you're buying $100 or $200 pianos, you don't want to pay a technician, $75, $100 to come and look at it for you, because it may not be economically feasible. But you do take some risk in that. But So these are some things that you want to be looking at, and like I said, we're going to be having some different videos on showing examples of actual Craigslist shopping for pianos. So keep an eye out for that. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. But otherwise, our website is howardpianoindustries.com.